Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Andy Meehan, your next Republican congressman from Pennsylvania's 1st District. It was a sad day in Mudville on Tuesday, November 5th, as Bucks County voters handed the reins of county government over to Democrats for the first time in 30 years. The Republican majority in the county commissioner's office was lost, leaving State Rep. Gene DiGirolamo as our lone minority representative. The new Democrat-controlled Bucks County government is now likely to enact policies that resemble those of our western neighbors in Montgomery County, where sanctuary policies, higher taxes, and pay-to-play politics will be held in check only by the anti-establishment conservative watchdog, Joe Gale. The voters of Bucks County disregarded the nonpartisan ratings of the county's own bar association and elected more progressive, inexperienced judges to fill 2 of the 3 seats on the bench. Having a fine record of holding the line on taxes and spending, maintaining an impressive bond rating, and exhibiting prudent governance over the court system, operations, and treasury, the Republicans were sent packing. With some exceptions in pockets of steadfast conservative resistance in townships around the county, power was transferred to a well-organized, well-funded, and unified Democratic Party. Certainly, changing demographics played a large role. The migration of people into the county from more liberal jurisdictions in New Jersey and Philadelphia is bringing their voter registration and failed progressive policies into their new home and our district. One early response to the historic loss from GOP leadership was that both sides gave it their best shot and the Democrats won, adding that they hadn't won in a long time. Upon reflection of this response, a political outsider like myself asks the question, is this really true? Didn't the Democrats just deliver a similar, though less damaging victory in 2017? Political outsiders like myself would ask, was this really our best shot? Did our best shot involve a united, creative, and energetic campaign involving get-out-the-vote initiatives, public rallies, voter registration drives, and educational outreach to younger voters? Was the leveraging of the collective knowledge, experience, and superior results delivered by the many devoted, hard-working, proven conservative servants on the county committee utilized effectively to bring home victory? Was the success of the Trump economy put on full display to convince Bucks County voters to preserve the last bastion of conservative governance in the Philly suburbs and take a pass on the failed promises of liberal Democratic policies as demonstrated by the high crime, high tax environment surrounding us on all sides? Was the record of President Trump on creating jobs and wealth across every demographic of the population touted as a reason to return Republicans to local offices? The answer to this question is a resounding and obvious no. Was this really our best shot, or did we shoot ourselves in the foot? Social media posts rumbled about the causes, with some suggesting that this stinging loss was largely due to the Trump effect. In an effort to explain the reasons for the epic losses at the polls, some would lay blame for our defeat at the feet of President Trump and Trump supporters in our district. A tired refrain last sung after Bucks County Republican losses in 2017. The divisive rhetoric and controversy surrounding the Trump presidency could be the explanation for the bloodbath of November 5th. Well, folks, nothing could be further from the truth. The truth is that the GOP leadership in Bucks County, personified by anti-Trump Rhino Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick, failed us miserably. Rather than fully embracing and crediting the Trump renaissance for preventing crooked Hillary Clinton from occupying the White House, rather than trumpeting the success of the economy and our newfound respect on the global stage, rather than calling attention to the improved quality of life and higher incomes for working-class residents of Pennsylvania's 1st District, Rather than exposing the corruption and lawlessness of the FBI and bureaucrats in Washington and beyond, the GOP opted to play defense and distance themselves from President Trump and his ardent supporters. Rather than leveraging and harnessing the passion, energy, and loyalty of Trump supporters, the GOP appealed to fear, opting to focus their message on stopping needle injection sites, higher taxes, and sanctuary policies. While true enough, their use as the primary appeal to voters is one based in weakness, a defensive strategy. Rather than call in the troops and bring President Trump to our county to plead our case, they opted to play defense. We could have played Tom Brady in the game, started with LeBron James on our team, or met our opponent on the field of battle with our own William Wallace, President Donald Trump. But no. Instead of playing our A game, we bet on the talent, effort, and leadership of Pennsylvania District 1's own Colin Kaepernick, Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick. And we lost bigly. The simple truth is that Congressman Fitzpatrick wants nothing to do with President Trump. Rather than swallow his pride and proudly proclaim the many successes of the Trump presidency against all odds and his efforts to make America great again, Congressman Fitzpatrick opted out, leaving us divided and leaderless, high and dry. You see, Congressman Fitzpatrick could have played offense for once. He could have called in support and made a bold appeal to the people of our district to support conservative principles like lower taxes, fiscal restraint, less regulation, smaller government, and harnessing the power of free enterprise. He could have brought attention to the culture war being waged upon us by the radical left with their agenda of socialism, identity politics, sanctuary cities, carbon taxes, and special treatment for transgender people. He could have stood side by side with principled conservatives and touted the benefits of our approach to governance and preservation of our constitutional rights, the Second Amendment in particular. But alas, that's not who he is. He's one of them, as proven by his voting record and public statements. He just can't bring himself to doing that because that would mean he would have to reverse course and stand on actual Republican principles. That would mean he would have to label himself as a Republican. That would mean he might even take a picture of himself with President Trump, shaking hands, heaven forbid. He would have to come clean about the corruption of his former bosses, James Comey and Robert Mueller. Instead, the messaging we get from Congressman Fitzpatrick is that it is okay to call our president a racist and distance himself from him. It's okay to ignore corruption if the removal of the president or the protection of Joe Biden is the goal. It's okay to talk like Democrats about climate change policy and carbon taxes, denying Second Amendment rights, opposing a physical barrier on our southern border, aka a wall, and relying on the apolitical, nonpartisan, unbiased activities by the top ranks of the FBI and CIA to root out political corruption. It's okay to not fight impeachment. It's okay to vote with Nancy Pelosi and Democrats over and over and over again. When the highest ranking elected public official in our district, our leader by title, who places an R next to his name, refuses to identify himself as a Republican, he sends a clear message to the electorate: vote Democrat. When the highest ranking elected public official in our district is blind to the political corruption that he pretends to fight as the former FBI political corruption specialist, he sends a clear signal: Trump is guilty and should be removed from office. When the highest ranking elected political official in our district spends Election Day, November 5th, posing for photo ops with the Boy Scouts instead of standing side by side at the polls with conservative candidates, he sends a clear message: I'm on my own team, the Fitz re-election team. Where was Fitzwaldo on election day while Andy Meehan was hip to hip, working 4 different polling locations, working with the candidates and the committed and very competent GOP committee people, actively engaging and encouraging voters to vote for people who do call themselves Republicans? Here's the deal, folks. The Bucks County GOP, under Congressman Brian Fitzpatrick's leadership, is leaderless and divided. We cannot go to battle, we cannot win, and we will continue to lose in 2020 with President Trump's re-election and our country's future on the line with a no labels, disconnected, squishy, wishy-washy, please don't call me a Republican leading the charge. Congressman will not do it because Congressman Fitzpatrick cannot do it. It's time for bold new leadership in Bucks County, and it starts with electing a congressman that will lead the fight, stand up for our values, our party, and our president. As your next Republican congressman, I will work with the Bucks County Republican Committee to fight every day with energy, passion, and conviction to make the case for conservatism and to give a voice to the abandoned and marginalized silent majority in our party who support our president and hold dear our values. We are not going to give one more inch. From here on out, we will play offense, and I will be out in front leading the charge for President Trump's re-election and our reclaiming of the U.S. House of Representatives. If we are going to lose our district and our country to the radical Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, Adam Schiff, and their pals in the media, academia, and Hollywood, we will not go down without a fight. With me, Andy Meehan, on the ballot with President Trump on November 5th, 2020, we will be a united and energized Republican Party so that together, unified under our shared values and our president, we bring home victory and preserve our country for generations to come. I'm Andy Meehan, and I approve this message.